Well, welcome to part two of the Voyage of the Dawn Treader. We are once again joined with our special guest, Sam. He's not really a guest anymore. He's just part of the team. He's our CEO.
Erstwhile co-host.
First Wild?
Erstwhile.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Sam has fancy words too. That'll be our next vocab game. What would yours be called? I feel like there's a play with Sam I Am.
Oh,
Sam I don't know. I don't know. We'll rumble on that one.
there you go.
Okay, but yeah, so we're joined by Sam, and by we, I mean me. It's just me today. So welcome to Bookalicious, a podcast where me and Sam are talking about books we're reading, and today we're finishing The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. I'm Chrissy,
I'm Sam.
and here we go. So Sam was telling me that our last conversation about Voyage of the Dawn Treader inspired him to re-listen to the rest of the Chronicle books. So that's exciting, and his rank may have changed from his second listening or most recent
Yes.
listening.
I think I'm going to move. I think I had Prince Caspian very high. I don't actually remember, but I think it needs to go further down the list.
And what would it be
It,
replaced by?
I don't know. I mean, I really liked Silverchair. I really like Horse and His Boy. So those would probably, I think those were a little bit lower. They would move up. So Dawn Treader is such a fun. I don't know. I hate ranking them
That
because
was
I
your
like them
idea.
all. I know. I'm just saying I like them all.
It's hard to rank snowflakes. Rank all your favorites. So, but Voyage of the Dawn Treader and Lion the Witch and the Wardrobe are still number two and number one. You think?
Probably.
And they're just so good.
I know. I
Yeah.
might move Silverchair into 3, possibly, and Prince Caspian at 5. I don't know. There's, they're all good.
I
They're
know.
all so good.
Yeah. I know. We need to get back on the Narnia train because Josh and I were reading through The Horse and His Boy, and it's just been going real slow. We've only been reading a few chapters at a time, which is great. But no new updates on me on the ranking
Mm-hmm.
at the moment. But yeah, I was excited after our last conversation. I was like, that was so much fun. I can't wait to talk about part two. And now it's been like a month, or
Yeah, I know.
I think it has been a month. And so I'm getting excited again now that I'm looking at my notes and remembering what happened. So are you ready for chapter 5?
Let's do it.
Okay, so chapter 5. They have just left the island with the how would you describe their government?
Um, uh, a really terrible
Yeah.
government that doesn't do anything.
Yeah, Lewis's satire of how the government is run, where they only meet on the second Saturday of the month at 9:30 p.m. So they're leaving that government. They've ended the slave trade. Now they're back on the boat, and life on the ship is grand until they run into a big hurricane. And we're getting a lot of this chapter through Eustace's diary. So he's explaining
Mm-hmm.
what's going on the boat. He's saying everyone is against me. All these bad things are happening.
That's right.
And then they finally make it to land, and Eustace is like, thank goodness. And then he sees everyone working, and he's like, I'm going to explore. And he leaves. And he
Yeah,
gets
he
lost.
doesn't tell anybody.
No.
Yeah, he's just doing his own thing over here.
Eustace is so funny. Okay, so one of the things from this chapter, or from the whole book, is that it's interesting to see Lucy and Eustace's dynamic, where Eustace is just this monster, and Lucy is so kind, and she's trying to be sweet to Eustace. And I think it's in this chapter we see that they're running low on rations on the ship, and everyone's working double time except Eustace, who's like, "Oh, I need to rest," and so he's holed up in his room.
Mm-hmm.
But during this, they're running low on water, and Lucy gives Eustace some of her water because she says girls need less water than boys do, so you can have some of mine. And Eustace in his diary is like, thank goodness she finally owned up to it and gave me water. And
Yeah,
so my question was, is Lucy an enabler?
she's definitely an enabler. You could say, okay, is this displaying some of C.S. Lewis's own sexism?
Oh,
Maybe.
like in what
I don't
way?
know. I don't know if I want to. in the way where he is like saying girls need less uh, water than boys.
Oh, I took that to mean as it was just like a lie Lucy told so that she could give Eustace water because she wanted to be nice to
Oh,
him. Oh, did you not take it like that?
oh, no,
Oh,
I didn't take it that way.
oh,
I
that's the
took
way I
it as Lucy being incredibly kind and Eustace being an incredible like jerk, and that was the contrast.
well, yeah, that's what I meant. I didn't mean it a lie, as in Lucy was being like devious, but she wanted to be incredibly
No.
kind. Yeah, and then Eustace was like, I guess he was the one who's kind of justifying the actions, even though like it's not right. He was like, oh, well, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Girls do need less water, but like they kind of just
Mm-hmm.
made that up. That's how I took it.
Well, to me, it's the opposite of chivalry, right? The
Yeah,
chivalry, because like if you look at chivalry in terms of like Reepicheep, and Reepicheep and Eustace are kind of like complete opposites here,
yeah,
because Reepicheep is always thinking about like the honor of someone, and Eustace has no honor whatsoever, and so those are kind of like that's what I think about with them.
yeah, yeah. Um, hmm. Yeah, and I think it's interesting because I guess thinking about Reepicheep as kind of the example of like here's how you should act and like all the I don't know. Do you think Reepicheep is the example of how you should always act? Like in this narrative, he is kind of
No,
like the standard.
no, not necessarily.
Okay.
I don't think Reepicheep is like the example of how you're always supposed to act.
Yeah. I don't he seems to be some sort of like guide though. I
Yeah, for
think.
sure.
I don't know. Yeah, but I guess I was contrasting that with like him and Lucy take very different responses to Eustace's like cowardice and stuff, where Reepicheep is like, I'm gonna challenge you to a
Mm-hmm.
duel, and he's trying to bring Eustace up, but Lucy is like,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay, I'll help you stay where you are, type of thing. Where it's like trying to be kind,
Yeah.
but not actually being loving because you're leaving
Mm-hmm.
him where he is.
Yeah. No. Eustace needs some very hard love, right? Like
Yeah.
as people would say, right? Like he needs, and he's about to get it.
Yeah. Love that scene. Yeah. There's this quote I came across from C.S. Lewis, kind of on the same idea, um,
Mm-hmm.
that I thought was so good. I actually got this from, I forget where I got this, either like an article or a podcast, also talking about the Dawn Treader. So I didn't put this connection together, but I thought it was really good. So I'm going to share it. But C.S.
Mm-hmm.
Lewis said that love and kindness are not synonymous. When kindness is separated, it involves
Mm-hmm.
indifference or contempt. Kindness that seeks someone to escape pain, but not seek the good. And so it kind of seems like that's what Lucy's doing is like just being kind but not being loving.
That's a really interesting observation.
Yeah, thank you. It wasn't my own, but I thought it was really good. Okay. Are there other things that stuck out from to you from these scenes?
Just on the boat, just
Yeah.
that Eustace is a horrible person, and he is completely useless to everyone in what they're doing.
Yes. Yeah. It's so funny. Okay, so one of my favorite lines here that just shows how awful Eustace is everyone's working double time and Eustace is like, I can't lift a finger. And everyone who's working is like getting more water because they're like sweating a lot or whatever. And then Eustace says, I tried to explain that perspiration really cools people down. So the men would need less water if they're working. I just thought was so funny.
Yeah, he's so stupid.
I know. I feel like this would have been such a fun chapter to write though for C.S. Lewis, where he's like, how can I just be like, let me
Sure.
channel all of my inner thoughts that sometimes I want to have, or like, imagine the worst
Well,
person.
but Eustace is also like a stand-in for the modern education system,
Mm,
right? So like Eustace is what the modern um education system creates.
Yeah. So someone who's
So,
selfish
like,
or like logical, but on the
yeah,
wrong end.
and idiotic, right?
Yeah.
Like selfish, idiotic, not chivalrous. And so, like, in some ways, like, if the modern education system, modern as of 1950 England, is C.S. Lewis's whipping boy, and that he is always bagging on it for for a lot of good reasons. This is what we're seeing happen and play out,
This is the
right? With
result of it.
Eustace.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm. Interesting. In any of his books, does he talk about like, here's the good education system? Like, I know he talks about the right books to read, but does he ever have like a
No.
offer a solution? Yeah.
Adventure, right? Adventure, but he doesn't really talk about it as an education system.
Yeah.
Now, you have in Prince Caspian a private tutor, and
Mm,
that is conveyed in a very positive way,
yeah. Hmm.
but that's probably the only other thing I could think of.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Are we ready for some get a clueless before moving on to chapter 6?
Let's do it.
Okay. So I only have one for this chapter, and it's be calmed. And I can read the sentence if necessary.
Uh, I mean, just as, sounds like be calm.
Okay, I found the word. So be calmed. It's from Eustace's diary, and it says September 4th. Still be calmed. Very short rations for dinner, and I got less than anyone. Any definitions?
So, what's the definition?
Oh, well, you're supposed to guess. Oh, your guess
I
is
mean, it just sounds like be calm.
okay. That would make sense. I don't know. I feel like it didn't make sense in the context. But ready for the definition? It
Yes.
means okay, it means to leave a sailing vessel unable to move through lack of wind.
There you go.
So, yeah. So it just means there's no wind, right? So the
Okay.
vessel can't
Yeah,
move. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
that's right.
Cool. All right. I think you're right on there. Okay. Ready for chapter 6?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
do it.
Chapter 6, they finally find land, and Eustace is like, thank goodness we're saved. And this is where everyone is working. Eustace wanders off, and he ends up finding a dragon horde, falls asleep, wakes up, and becomes a dragon. Um, and by the end of the chapter, he wanders back and finds the others, but he's still in his dragon self. Um, so I think at the end of the chapter, they do realize that he's Eustace, but he can't communicate really with them.
I thought it was really good how you have the dragon come out and then he goes in and then he transforms and then he's really freaked out because there's a dragon on his right, a dragon on his left,
I love that.
and then he doesn't realize it's him till it's him, and then he goes out and everybody doesn't recognize him, and then they're like crocodile tears, which is where I think I learned about the concept of crocodile tears.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Yeah, C.S. Lewis does a really good job about I don't know, these are just my favorite scenes. I guess we can combine this chapter with the next one where we see Eustace first transform into a dragon like you were just saying. And then we see him interacting with people as a dragon, where everyone seems to notice, even though he's not in human form, he seems to be a better version of himself as a dragon, and he's helping out. And he's realized that he's missed people, and wants to be in relationship with them. And now that he can no longer really be in relationship with them, he's kind of like, changing his tune. And then at the end of this chapter and the end of our time on this island, he meets Aslan, who cures him of being a dragon through a really painful unscaling process. And then they also find a lord on the island, and then they sail off. So I guess we can just kind of talk about it all together. But
Let's
yeah,
do it.
yeah. So I thought it was really interesting that it kind of seems like Eustace's relationship with other people is what drove him to be a dragon, but also drove him to come out of being a dragon, where he found them like so intolerable that he like went away by himself. but then it's like his
Mhm.
need for community that makes him come back, and then eventually like points him better
Yeah.
things.
Well, I think if you think about it, right, Eustace is already a dragon.
Yeah.
He's already a dragon. And this is only making him transforming into is really becoming his true nature.
Right. Right. It
Right.
wasn't so much a
And
transformation as just like a realization.
well, I mean, it certainly was a transformation, right?
Yeah.
But I think it was a revealing of inner character.
Right.
Right. Like you could say, like the inner character of Reepicheep, even though he's a mouse, his inner character is that of a lion.
Yeah.
Right. Like he is. So as I just think about Eustace and him being transformed to dragon, that's kind of already who he is. Greedy, selfish, lonely, separated from everyone. But once he realizes who he is, now he wants to change. Now he wants something different.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
it allows, and then what by recognizing who he really is, he is able to receive other people's kindness in a completely different kind of way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I guess I hadn't like fully thought of it like that. Of Eustace has kind of been deceiving himself into thinking that he's actually like he's an angel and everybody else is wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
now he's like he can't deny it. He's like, oh no, I am the monster.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So I think something else we can go into it, but like now I don't think C.S. Lewis is doing this, but one of the things. So I'm a Lutheran pastor, right? And one of the things that we Lutheran pastors like to talk about is law and gospel.
Oh.
And we talk about there are three uses of God's law. And so if you're a person who's not a Christian, I'm sorry for talking about all this stuff because you probably don't care. And I apologize. But the big idea here is that God's law curbs our sinful behavior. It acts as a mirror to show us where we are wrong, and then as a Christian, it guides us in how we are to behave. So, if you were to think about it in terms of like a stop sign, or better yet, a speed limit sign, the speed limit sign is going to curb my behavior of breaking the speed limit for fear of punishment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then not and then when I do break the speed limit and somebody pulls me over, it's obvious that I've broken the speed limit, right? Because I'm going faster than it's supposed to. Like it acts as a mirror to show me where I've gone wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think one of the things here is that I don't think Lewis is doing this, but we can see how it plays out in both this chapter and the next chapter. Is that when he looks into the pond and he sees his physical reflection, it is the mirror that shows him who he is and what he's done. And I think it is that realization that allows him to be able to want to come to a better place, right? Because now he doesn't have this false reality of who he is.
Right.
Oh, wait, I'm the dragon.
Yeah. Yeah, that is really good. Why do you say C.S. Lewis isn't doing that on purpose? Or is that what you said?
I don't know if I don't know if C.S. Lewis is actually intentionally trying to conjure up like the Lutheran understanding of the uses of the law.
Yeah.
I do think that like the effect is happening. I'm not saying that that's what Lewis is doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. We had also talked about in the end of our last episode about sacraments and how those are throughout the Dawn Treader.
Yes.
And we see
Yep.
a few in this chapter, I think. Right. So we see let's see. We see baptism with Eustace getting like undragonified from Aslan.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that scene. That's like the best one. I don't know. That
oh
brings Voyage of the Dawn Treader
it's
like close
so
to
good.
one. Love it. Do you know what Lewis's understanding of baptism would have been as like, because he's Anglican?
An Anglican, it would have been
Yeah.
sacramental.
Yeah. Okay. Bringing, would you like to explain sacramental for
Yeah. Okay.
who aren't familiar?
So sacrament is a English word. I think it comes from the Latin, and it basically means mystery. And so some Christian um, denominations follow what's called like a sacramental view of baptism and the Lord's Supper, specifically the idea that uh, when you come to the Lord's Supper, there is something mystical that you don't really know what's happening here. It's something um, cool, something that is mysterious. So for the Christian who believes in a sacrament, with communion, we would say that Jesus is present with his body and his blood for the forgiveness of sins. And with baptism, we are saying that Jesus is showing up to save a person, right? Through baptism. And that these are mysterious things. Now, you have joined the Catholic Church, and the Catholic Church has 7 sacraments, as I understand them. Would you like to give an explanation, and we can all judge whether or not RCI worked for you, or RCIA, or whatever you call it?
Oh no. Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of similarities with like it's not just like an action, but there's actually something really spiritual going on that we don't see. And it is a mystery of like we don't really know fully like how this is working, but like we trust that it is happening. Um,
Um, so let's talk about the sacrament of baptism right here, because you'll actually see both the what some may say is the sacrament of the altar. That's in like one of the last chapters, or the Lord's Supper, and then you also see here the sacrament of baptism. Um, and then so let's talk about this scene. So Eustace um, needs to get his dragon skin off, his dragon self, right? If you will, a kind of repentance. But no matter how hard he tries, he's not able to get down deep enough. And so, unless Aslan shows up and is able to do the repentance on his behalf, he's going to stay a dragon, right? Because he
yeah.
can't scratch off enough skin, and the dragon's claws hurt really bad, but that's what's necessary to no longer be that dragon. And so he goes in, he washes, he comes out in these white clothes. It's this like very Christian view of what is happening in baptism.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I really liked how C.S. Lewis made it a kind of like suffering for him because I think there is this
Mm-hmm.
idea of suffering bringing redemption and bringing someone like closer to Christ through that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I think that just made it really beautiful. Did you see any other sacraments in these few scenes?
No, I mean baptism's the two that I so the way Lutherans and Catholics number sacraments are different. Um, so I I see baptism here. I see communion at the end of the book. I don't know if I necessarily see any other sacraments going on.
Yeah, this one was I asked because some people say there's another sacrament here. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that. And
Oh,
that's
what would they say?
confession. They said can
Oh, sure.
or wait, no, let me see. Yeah, confession. Because Eustace. Oh wait, no, actually they said confirmation, but I guess confession could also be here in the same scene. But confirmation. Do Lutherans have confirmation?
Yeah, but not as like a sacrament.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. So for Catholics and maybe other denominations too, um, you have baptism when you're born, and then confirmation is in a way like confirming, like, yes, you have the Holy Spirit, you have a relationship with God, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and usually it's done by a priest or even a bishop. I think especially in the Anglican Church, which is
Mhm.
what C.S. Lewis was a part of, it's usually done by the bishop. Um, and so when Eustace goes to Edmund and he kind of relays all the things that have happened with Aslan, and then Edmund confirms, he's like, Eustace is like, I'm not sure, like, did that actually happen? But then Edmund confirms, he's like, yes, it seems as though you've seen Aslan.
Mhm.
And so that could be Edmund validating what Eustace has experienced, but also like confirming him in the church, basically.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And also because Edmund is kind of the highest ruler at the moment because Peter isn't there. He's kind of like the bishop in this sense.
Interesting. That's
Yeah, I
a
thought
that's
that
some crazy Catholic reading right there.
was well, okay, but how else? Because did you think all the sacraments were in here, or
No, I don't
because I'm like,
know.
where
I'm
else would
not
that one
looking
be?
for them. This is confirmation bias, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'm not looking for them to show up,
right,
So because I'm not looking for them to show up, I'm not seeing them.
right.
And so maybe if I'm like looking really hard to find where am I going to find confirmation? But that sounds like a stretch to me, Chrissy.
I know.
That
I
sounds
mean,
like papist nonsense.
it's all there. I mean, once you have like over half of the sacraments, like, well, probably they're all there. Probably. This was on purpose.
I don't think Anglicans have 7 sacraments, but I could be wrong.
That's such a good number. Um, they have confirmation though, but I guess do they view it as a sacrament?
I don't know.
Need a res.
Anglican sacraments. We're going to Wikipedia. They have 2.
They have two sacraments.
Yeah. So they have 2 sacraments ordained by Christ our Lord in the gospel. And then they have things that are commonly called sacraments, but not counted for sacraments of the gospel, which are the other 5 things. But yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, so sacramental-ish.
Yeah, no, they I guess it depends on. I think we're diving way too deep that into things our listeners aren't listening to.
I think it's interesting, but okay, yeah, you're probably right. But I think it is. Anyways, could could be a sacrament. Might be a stretch that this is the sacrament, but
Of confirmation.
of
Yes.
confirmation, right? Well,
Yes.
that's what this online blog told me, so I believed it.
Oh, that makes sense that your online blog would say that.
All right. Um, the other thing that I really appreciate Lewis does here is that he has this whole baptism of Eustace and like he's a new person, but like he's not like totally perfect now. And it says that he still has
Mm.
relapses. There's many days when he could be very tiresome, but even still, the cure had begun. And I thought that was
Yeah,
really good to make it
exactly.
realistic. Yeah. Where it's like that is
Yeah.
the reality, is that it's a journey.
hmm
Yeah. All right. Are we ready for the next scenes?
Yes.
Cool. Um, all right. So so
Now,
chapter,
oh,
oh yeah, yeah.
I think I was listening to something or I was reading somewhere, but Jesus shows up 7 different times in different forms in
Oh,
this book. So if
interesting.
you wanted to make the case that Lewis is trying to do a bunch of different sevens, I think just kind of going back, you might be able to try and stretch it. But that he's doing a lot of a lot of number 7s throughout this book.
Yeah,
So they're looking for the 7 lords. Do they go
right.
to 7 different islands? I don't know. Like
Probably.
I don't count it. Is do
Yeah,
the 7 sacraments show up?
they do on
Maybe.
my book.
There you go.
um, okay, so far we've seen Jesus or Aslan come as lion. We haven't seen him come as anything else yet, right?
Um, we as we get into some of the next islands, he's going to show up as an albatross,
Oh yeah.
as the bird of light, and then he shows up in the book. as Lucy's reading it, and then he shows up in the painting, and then he shows up. I don't know. I'm not. I can't count them all off, but we do need to speed this up. We got to
Yeah,
finish this book.
that's what I was
We
thinking
need to
too.
do it in 2 parts, not 3.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so that's a great idea because I just think about doing chapters 8 through 11 all together. So I'm just going to give a big summary. We talk about things. So, chapter 8, they have left the island. Eustace is now a person again. And like we said, he's transformed, better version of himself. And they run into a sea serpent, and Eustace does the first brave thing that he's ever done, which is try to valiantly fight the sea serpent, but it actually doesn't do any good, and he breaks Caspian's sword, but that's okay. They find another lord who has turned into a gold statue in a magical pool. They discover this pool can turn anything into gold. So Caspian and Edmund, in particular, start fighting about what to do with the island. But then Aslan appears and straightens them up. And then everyone starts forgetting about it and sailing away. And they later discover the Lord was Lord Roop, I believe. But anyways, he's one of the lords they were looking for. So after that, like brief adventure, now they find the land of the Dephilpods, where they're just a bunch of invisible people thumping around. And there's a chief Dephilpod and his groupies. And they work for this magician, but they've turned themselves invisible because they're so ugly. But now they want to be visible again, and they need a little girl to say the spell so that they can be seen. So they rally Lucy into doing it, or else the invisible people are going to kill them all. And so Lucy's like, all right, fine, I guess I will. Lucy goes into the house. She finds a spell to make them visible. It works. She sees Aslan along the way. They meet the magician of the island, learn some things, see the Dephilpods, and then they sail away. And that's kind of it.
That's a good summary. I like your summary.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Worked very hard.
It's fantastic. We just covered like a whole lot because we just did the sea serpent and Goldwater / Deathwater Island.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it's called. Yeah,
and what else? What else? We and the Dephilpods.
That's it.
Yeah, that's a whole lot. I thought that the way the tension of the Deathwater Island was like really good. I like that one a lot.
That they're conflicted on what to do, of like making a lot of money and using the island.
Yes, and just like the instant of the greed kind of thing. It reminded me very much of like the One Ring in Lord of the Rings.
You know, oh yeah, that everyone is seeking the ring. Yeah, I could see that. So here's where you kind of see Reepicheep as like spiritual leader, because he sees all these people fighting about it. He's like, what are you fools doing? It's like, we need to get out of here. And he's the one who wants to call it Deathwater rather than Goldwater.
Yes.
Do you think Reepicheep does anything wrong in this book?
Not that anything strikes me immediately.
Yeah.
Perhaps he's so focused on like defending his honor, he's too willing to attack, which is actually leveled at him by Aslan in the book 4, that he's very concerned about his own honor. So that certainly carries through, but I don't think as a whole I look at Reepicheep as like a bad guy.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. He kind of seems to be like the example of like when you're unsure who's right in the scene, look at Reepicheep, and
That's
he's
right.
the one.
That's right. He's got his head on straight.
Yeah. We love him. I thought it was so funny when they reached the Dephilpod Island and Eustace says, machinery. I do believe we've come to a civilized country at last.
That's right. He is always focused on the wrong things. Well, much less so now than before, but
yeah,
still.
Old habits are hard to break. Okay, so a few things happen here. So when Lucy is doing the spell, she has to look through the magic spell book before she finds the one to make them visible. And I think she can only turn it one page at a time, so she kind of has to look at every spell that's in there. And one of the spells that she reads is to spy on her friends and to learn what they actually
Mm-hmm.
think of her. So she listens in on their conversation, and it's not a very positive one about Lucy. And now
No.
she's super hurt. And who comes in but Aslan?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what have you done? Um, which is where we see our next sacrament, if you're reading it like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What is it?
Okay, well, I guess we've already talked about reconciliation, but this one could also be reconciliation, where he's like, "What have you done?" And she's like, "You're right, I messed up. I'm sorry." And then Aslan has a great line where he says something like, "Oh, Lucy asks if she'll forget what she's heard," and Aslan says, "No, basically, you're forgiven, but you're not free from the consequences of what you've done," which is pretty good.
That is good.
Yeah.
That's a very good uh thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to add to it.
Yeah, I
I
know.
like
It's a
how she
good.
wants to be beautiful like Susan. And
So
that's not for her.
I know. Poor Lucy.
I know.
Do you think you would have said the spell to hear what your friends say?
Oh, I'm sure I would.
Wouldn't you be
And
so curious?
oh, so curious. I would have been just like her, you know? But that would have been the wrong decision.
Tough. I mean, she's doing pretty good for being like 10, so
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
great. There's a line here where it says Aslan has to obey his own magic. I wasn't sure what he meant. Does that just mean like he has like this nature of like he always has to be forgiving or something, where that's what he's
Uh,
referring to?
I think so. I mean, it is there are clear ways in which God, so like Aslan as God, right? There are very clear ways that God sets himself up to be,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, and he says, "This is how I operate. This is who I am." And so I think for anybody who's paying attention, oh, okay, this is how God is going to act and behave because he has chosen to put those limits on himself. And so this is somewhat similar, but a little different than in like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, because the witch was following the deep magic, but the lion was following the deeper magic,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like the even more true laws.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Duffel pods are idiots.
Oh, they're so
They're
funny.
humorous.
Okay. So there's one part with the duffel pods where they're like, okay, so the duffel pods become visible and it turns out they're giant feet. Or no, sorry. They're creatures that have only one giant foot, so they're hopping around, which makes them sound
Mm.
kind of like a little terrifying. But now they can see them and they're like, "Oh my gosh, they look so silly." And Lucy goes, "It would be a pity to change them back to like what they used to be before the magician changed them into these duffel pods." And Lucy says, "They're so funny and they're rather nice." And I was like, that seems kind of
Are
mean to
they?
leave them like fools just because you think they're funny looking.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that's okay. That's okay.
It, the whole thing was I found to be extremely humorous,
I know.
which I think was part of the point.
Yeah, it is funny. But yeah. Um, yeah, I also thought it was interesting here where Aslan says, or no, maybe it's a magician. Maybe it's Aslan. I don't know. But Aslan can't show himself to the people of this island because they're ruled by rough magic rather than wisdom. And so they're not ready to see him. Um, and so that I thought that was interesting of like maybe Lewis is kind of calling back to like the Old Testament or something where like he's preparing the people for the
Oh, maybe.
incarnation, but like they're not ready
Yeah.
yet. So it's interesting they're seeing islands on different
Yeah.
places. Okay, we're ready for the next set of chapters?
Yeah. I'm ready.
Cool. All right.
Let's rock and roll,
Um,
baby.
okay, I think we can do this in two more sections. So, first part, they leave the island, leave the duffel pods, then they come to the land where dreams come true. But it's actually
Mm.
terrible because it's not your daydreams, it's all of your dreams. So it's actually where nightmares come true.
Yeah.
So it's really dark in there. Lucy asks Aslan to help them. A light comes and an albatross starts guiding them out and whispers, "Courage, dear heart." Um, and oh, actually, this is where they find Lord Roop. He wasn't the golden statue. That was
A
that
different
was
lord.
Rustmar. Yeah, different one. Anyways, they find Lord Roop. Um, they make it out of the land where dreams come true. They have saved Lord Roop. And then they find a island with a beautiful table with a feast on it. And there's three people sleeping there whose hair has grown so long that it covers them. They later find out that these are lords who had fallen asleep at the table because they started quarreling there, almost tried to kill each other. They touched a knife they weren't supposed to, and then they fell asleep. Um, and the knife was what the White Witch had used to kill Aslan. So there's a lot of callbacks there. Um, and then you know what? We can just do the rest of the chapters. So they find that island.
You're gonna
They, do
finish the book?
you want to, or do you want to
No.
stop there?
Well, yeah. Let's stop there because
Okay.
this is where the next sacrament shows up.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. We'll stop there. Then we'll do the next three chapters. All right.
Okay.
So, what's a sacrament?
Well, the sacrament is the Lord's Supper, right?
Right.
I think they almost say that like word for word.
Yeah. They might. I don't remember, but yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because it's supposed to be like communion of like being together, but then you see the
Mm-hmm.
lords and they're doing the opposite. And they're
Mm-hmm.
fighting at the table, which is causes them to go to sleep. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But then they get there and everyone's kind of worried to eat it, but Reepicheep, our spiritual leader, he's the first one to eat from it. So
Yeah.
another point for Reepicheep being our guide.
You know what I was thinking was like, so why is it that the knife is there?
Hmm.
And why does Lewis put the crucifixion with the Lord's Supper? But if not that, as you take the Lord's Supper, you proclaim the Lord's death, right? Until he comes again.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think he does it.
Right. I think so. Um, yeah, I don't know if this is the same like view that Lutherans have, but like when you take communion, it's like you're representing the crucifixion. So it's not that it's happening again, but it's almost as if you're being like transported there and like
Mm-hmm.
partaking in it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I think that kind of goes with it too, of like
Mm-hmm.
this is where it happened. And now we're kind of remembering it in a very real way when we take communion. Yeah,
We don't have to get, we can't. Do you want to get into the theological differences between Lutherans and Catholics?
do it.
Well, we don't have to. I'm just asking
I
if you
like
want
it. I
to.
think it's fun.
So, um, so Catholics, from what I understand, have a belief called transubstantiation,
Hmm.
um, in which the elements, bread and wine, are transformed into uh, body and blood, so that there is no longer any bread or wine, only body and blood.
Well,
And
it's
then Luther,
still. I
hmm,
think it would. I think it's still the. Oh gosh, what is it? Substance and what's the other word?
substance and accidents.
Yeah, yeah. It's still the accident of bread, but it's a substance of
It is the
wine.
accident. Yes. So this is something with Aristotle, that the substance of a thing is different than the way it looks. Right.
Yeah,
That is the accident of the thing, so that the substance changes, transubstantiation, but the accident of, or the appearance of bread and wine remain.
right.
And
Yeah. Is
then,
that the same thing you just said?
yeah,
Okay.
that is a more philosophical way to explain it.
Okay. Okay. Then yeah, I think we're on the same page. But then how is it different from Lutherans?
Lutherans would believe in, sometimes Lutherans are described as consubstantiation. That's not the case. Lutherans believe in real presence, and real presence is that Christ is truly and really present in the bread and wine with his body and his blood. So you could say that for Catholics, Jesus is 100% present in the with body and blood, and 0% present with bread and wine. If you were to, you and I both grew up in kind of an evangelical style. We could say that Jesus was 0% present with body and blood, and 100% present, or maybe not even present. Maybe that's the wrong word. It's just 100% bread and wine. Lutherans would say it's 100% bread and wine, and it's 100% body and blood, because that's how Jesus presents it. This, he holds up the bread and says, "This is my body." He holds up the wine and says, "This is my blood." So,
yeah.
Candy's going to listen to this podcast and be like, "What did they talk about?"
We lost all of our listeners at this point.
Oh, absolutely.
What, speaking of sacramental, what I really loved about this chapter in particular is Lewis just kind of makes everything magical. And so the people, the woman that they meet on this island is like so beautiful. And it turns out that she and her father or grandfather that are there, they are retired stars.
Yes.
And so he's just kind of made this whole world where like even the stars aren't what you think they are. They are also very magical. Which I think kind of goes in with like a sacramental worldview where it's like this actually isn't bread. Like this is something way cooler. And like this isn't just baptism in an action, but it's something really cool is going on here.
Well, and if you want to count up your 7 sacraments, here you have marriage hinted at.
Yeah. They're all here.
they're all here.
Okay, this is maybe this could be an argument for Lewis including all the sacraments in here, because the marriage thing seemed to just be like stuffed in there. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Why are they getting married? They just met. I'm like, this is weird. But Lewis needed a way for marriage to be in there. So
maybe, I don't know. It feels very fairy tale, right?
I guess so.
He finds the princess.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I could buy it. I still felt like I was like, this is random.
Yeah, no, it certainly is random. Sure.
Yeah. All right. Anything else with all these things?
No. I think we kind of hit it. The idea that all the stars are creatures. Is also interesting because he doesn't get into like, okay, what's that other star out there and what's he doing? But that to me is very interesting.
Oh, right. Isn't there like a star that's not doing what he should or something?
That was the other wizard on the island of the things.
Cephalopods. That's right. That's like his punishment kind of, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, now he's in charge of all these loonies.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, how fun. Yeah. And I feel like after reading this book, you're just left and you're like, wow, everything around me is magical. It makes it so
it's
good.
all real.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, ready for the end?
Yes.
Woohoo. Okay, so they leave the feast. Before that, Caspian needs to get his whole crew together, and no one wants to go because they're like, oh, the end of the world sounds scary. Then Caspian's like, I didn't want you to come anyway. I only need the brave ones to come. And then everyone is like, I'm brave. So now he ends up with his full crew again, except for one guy who was just a bandwagoner. And Caspian said, now you can't come anymore. So he got left. Yeah. Anyways, they're sailing again, and they're at the beginning of the end of the world. So to break the enchantment of the sleeping kings, right? They have to sail to the world's end and then leave one of their party there and then sail back to the island. And this has been Reepicheep's dream since he was a wee little mouse. And so he has gladly volunteered for the mission. And so they start sailing. As they keep going, they discover sea people. Reepicheep discovers that the water is now sweet instead of salty, which means that they're near the end of the world. And now they have, when they finally make it to the world's end, there's these beautiful lilies all over the water. There's a waterfall that goes over the world's edge. Reepicheep gets out on his little boat and he sails off, and we don't know what becomes of Reepicheep. And Caspian wants to see the end of the world, but it's not his place to see the end of the world. And Aslan kind of comes out and is like, "You're not a free agent. You have responsibilities you need to attend to."
Yeah.
So Reepicheep leaves, Caspian stays, and then the three kids, I think Aslan tells them to leave as well, or something. So they kind of like sail off onto a boat. Anyways, they end up meeting a lamb who who's eating fish, or he turns into Aslan first and then they all eat fish, something like that. Anyways, they see Aslan again, and Aslan tells them that it's their time to go and that the Pevensies will not be back in Narnia, but they'll need to know Aslan by his name in their land. And
Mm-hmm.
then all three kids go back to the real world, and Eustace has become much nicer, and everyone is
Mm-hmm.
so impressed by him, except his Aunt Alberta, who thinks that he's very commonplace now.
Yeah. Poor, poor Eustace.
Can't win.
Can't win. So, okay, Chrissy, here's my question
All right.
for you. Why do they eat fish?
Oh, well, isn't that, I felt like, as a callback to Jesus, because he comes back after the resurrection and then he has fish.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So
That's my
why
guess.
then?
Why they do that. Why then?
Yeah, I guess they've just seen
Because
communion. So it's like
yeah, I mean
sacrifice.
um they are in the land of resurrection,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
right? That's why I think.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so if we're counting our Jesus sightings here, he's come as a lion already. He comes as the albatross. Um, we see him as a lamb. Was it seven
Mhm.
distinct comings? What are the other ones? Or is the just lion three other times?
I couldn't tell you all the lions.
Yeah, I don't know either.
It's not
Okay.
just lions because albatross and the lamb counts,
Right.
and then in the book, and then in the painting when he chastises. So that's four. So then you need to come up with another three.
Yeah.
At Death Watch is five. I don't know.
Yeah. I bet there's
Oh,
seven.
at baptism is six.
Right. Have you already counted this last one? He's lion and lamb.
I don't know.
I don't know. We're
Maybe
at seven, I think. So he did it all.
he did all his sevens.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think we could keep talking about the book, but the book's good. I thought it was cool how like they are basically an alien spacecraft as they go over the mer people. Mer people are like, what is that
Oh.
UFO above us?
Oh, yeah. Like, what's happening? Yeah. I didn't think of it
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Well, you should. You should be thinking about it like that.
I guess that explains why they got kind of violent and they're trying to chase them away. They're like, what is happening here? Uh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Lewis just does a really good job of putting you in the story, I think, especially in these last few chapters, where like you're also just so sad to leave Narnia.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, man, so good. I also liked his part with Caspian where he wanted to go to the end of the world, but like he kind of Aslan had a specific role for Caspian that didn't
Mm-hmm.
include the adventure. So even though it's a good thing, it's like, well, that's not what you're meant to do. So you got your own responsibilities. Yeah. All
Well,
right,
this was a
so
good book, Chrissy.
yeah, how would
What
you
are our
rank it?
final things that we have to do?
Okay, so how would you rank
How
the
would I
book?
rank it?
Yeah, 5 stars out of 5 stars.
Um, Out of 5 stars,
Mm-hmm.
five. I think this
I
is the
know.
best one. Maybe
I don't really know how I would change it. It's pretty perfect.
no.
Yeah, I think I'd say
It's
five.
a phenomenal book.
Big fan. Yeah. All right. I think I'll say 5 too. Good job. Um, and then our last game is Read It Like Reddit, where I have 3 things pulled out from Reddit. There really wasn't a lot on this one. and we say whether we read it.
Okay.
So overall, honestly, everyone really loved the book. They're like, this was my favorite one ever. So there wasn't really anything spicy to pull out. One though that I thought was funny was this person said, my favorite joke out there about that statement of Eustace, meaning he almost deserved his name, Eustace Clarence Scrubb, was that it's brave words coming from a man named Clive Staple Lewis. And they're like, maybe they kind of did that. Maybe he kind of did that on purpose. It was like a jab to himself of like, it's worse than Clive Staple Lewis.
Yeah.
Just Clarence Scrub.
That's it. That's really funny.
I know. I like that. Let's see. The other thing was that this feels like one of the happiest of the books. There's no great challenge, no massive peril, just a series of short, mostly enjoyable adventures. Agree? Disagree?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is one thing. I don't know how to say the thing. One thing that you could point out in this book is how it's very similar to the Odyssey.
Oh yeah.
Right? Just those. And I think we talked about that last time, but just like a series of adventures.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's not one overall like monster. Just a bunch of little ones.
No.
Eat them.
Just a bunch of little ones.
I do kind of like that. It kind of, for me, made it feel a little bit slow at times, but
yeah,
it's great. It's a great story. And then the last thing that someone said, which is like, this is a little bit of a hot take, is that the only thing I didn't love about the book as a boy was the duffel pods. I thought they were a silly addition, not particularly well thought out, and compared them unfavorably to the animate stars, which are easily some of the best characters in the entire series.
I think there's some like strong points there. I don't know how great the duffel pods truly are ultimately.
I did kind of think Lucy's opinion of them was a little weird. She's like, oh, we should keep them silly for my enjoyment. It's like, oh, Lucy. But, it's interesting.
Yeah.
The idea of them swimming or making a flotation device with their foot was pretty funny.
It was hilarious.
Cool. All right. Any other thoughts on?
Well, don't we have to ask the author a question?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that one. Okay. What questions would you ask C.S. Lewis?
I want to know a lot more about the history of the stars. What's going on with those guys?
Are you surprised he didn't write a book about the stars? Like that could have been a great, I'm sure he had lots of ideas of books to write.
Well, what would he, if he did write a book about the stars, what would he have said?
It's just a story about how did the stars live? Maybe how did the magician guy get to where he is? Why is he in punishment? I don't know.
Maybe.
I think that'd be so cool. Like the origin story.
It would be cool. Yeah.
Man. Yeah, that would be fun.
We didn't get it.
Man. Well, if you're ever into writing, Sam, maybe you can make your own origin story.
I can make my own origin story.
Yeah.
Great. Fantastic. Just what I wanted.
Let's think. I don't know. Questions to have? I would just love to hear all of C.S. Lewis's like personal life experiences that he drew from for this book with like unsavory government officials like having to wait till the second Saturday, school system. Because like I feel like you just hear so much of C.S. Lewis in this, and I'm like, I want to know what did you experience to write this?
Why are you the way you are, C.S. Lewis?
I know. Wouldn't that be great?
I think it'd be phenomenal.
Yeah. Okay, I think those are all of our.
But we don't have it.
Games. I know. It's sad. It's okay. We have lots of other books.
It's good though.
Yeah.
Chrissy, you did a phenomenal job hosting.
Thank you.
Thanks for hosting.
Thank you for being my guest. This was very, very great that we got to meet together again. and finish part 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate it. And Candy will probably be tapping you
Yeah.
anytime I'm going to be out of town. So if
Oh
you'd
my
like to be
gosh.
on the podcast.
I wonder what book would you pick for me and Candy to do?
Well, if you have any other short stories, that could be really great. Let's see. What other books? Or like, I don't know, I kind of like the childhood classics. Those have been fun.
Mhm.
You could do another series of unfortunate events. You could do Twilight. That would be kind of long though, I feel like. Wouldn't that be
No,
fun?
thanks. I'm not interested. I guess I have zero interest in doing Twilight.
Didn't
There's
you read
nothing about Twilight. I did. Yeah. They did not end well. I have zero interest in going back to a series of books that did not end well.
revisiting them? All right. Yeah, Candy wouldn't like Twilight either.
No, if she wants, I'd do there's some science fiction books I would do.
Oh, could you do them in like, or I guess you could do them in multiple episodes if you wanted to. Or just one, if you want to just do one big one. I
Yeah.
don't know. I'll think of that.
I'll talk to her about it.
Yeah. Thank you, co-host Sam.
You're welcome.
An integral part to Bookalicious.
I am. Very much so.
CEO.
That's great.
Right. Well, this was fun.
Well, thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you, Sam.
Love you, girl.
Love you too. Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Bookalicious. If you like this discussion, please rate or subscribe to our channel to help other book lovers find this content as well. If you have any questions or suggestions for future books, we'd love to hear from you at bookalicious.pod@gmail.com. As always, thanks for joining our club.